There are 3 secrets that have been buried for 2,000 years. Can you hear the whispers from that night? Do you think Nero was crazy, or was he a genius? If you think darkness is a place where there is nothing, look again. If you believe that the past still has something to say, then join me in listening to the echoes of time. Part 2. Guarding what and from whom? The lamps were sent to a lab in Geneva for dating. The results returned 2 weeks later. One of them had last been refilled with oil in the year 1437 CE. Over 1,000 years after the Western Empire collapsed. No records show the site was ever accessed. No signs of disturbance, and the chamber, by every measurement, had been sealed since antiquity. So how did someone enter it? And more unsettling, why would they? When news of the discovery leaked, the chamber was resealed for preservation. The tunnel was closed, and the room, if it still breathes in darkness again. But the spiral symbol has since appeared in strange places, etched into a fresco in a villa outside Naples, burned into the foundation of a ruined fort in Dacia, even painted faintly on the side of a child's sarcophagus in Britain. Always hidden, always half erased, as if someone is still watching, still guarding, still lighting the flame, and maybe, just maybe, still waiting. Shall we descend deeper into the 3rd secret? Secret 3 history claims. Rome fell in 476 AD, undone by barbarian invasions, internal rot, and a slow, inevitable decline. But what if that's not the whole truth? What if Rome didn't collapse, but was silenced? In a forgotten monastery high in the Pyrenees, amid crumbling scrolls and dust-covered tomes, a single letter was discovered, tucked between unrelated texts. Never catalogued, its brittle parchment was nearly ash, yet its ink gleamed with defiance. Written in hurried, nervous Latin, it was signed F.A. Historians believe this could only be Flavius Anicius, an Eastern Roman senator thought dead in 472 AD. Yet the letter was dated 479, 3 years after Rome's supposed fall, addressed not to an emperor or bishop, but to the custodes, the keepers. It carried a warning. It begins as a confession. I was wrong to speak, but silence is the greater sin. They have rewritten the end. Rome has not fallen. She has been folded into shadow. It describes a secret meeting, not in Rome, but beneath Carthage, in a place called the Sub Rosa Forum. The Forum beneath the Rose. 7 men, each from a province of the old empire: Gaul, Hispania, Italia, Africa, Britannia, Achaia, Asia, made a chilling choice: to erase Rome, not by war or fire, but by oblivion. They would let the West fall, let Goths seize cities, Vandals raid coasts. But behind the chaos, they would hide Rome's essence, archives, rituals, knowledge, names, scattering them into monasteries, guilds, and secret orders, some enduring today. They burned records, silenced witnesses, and passed their mission to sworn heirs. One line haunts: the true empire does not fall, it sleeps. Scholars initially dismissed the letter as a forgery, a fanciful hoax. Then came the ink test. Carbon dating revealed it was 1,500 years old, crafted with myrrh and crushed pearl, a recipe exclusive to elite Eastern Roman scribes lost after the 5th century. Stranger still, the monastery had no Roman ties, its archives uncatalogued. How did the letter arrive there, unless someone meant for it to be found centuries later? What if Rome's fall was no accident, but a deliberate act? A ritual, a vanishing orchestrated by men guarding something sacred or dangerous, too potent to remain exposed. Rome may not be gone, but hidden, in scrolls, whispered secrets beneath cities, still breathing, waiting for the moment to stir. We may not walk among Rome's ruins, but within its echo. 3 secrets. A mysterious mask with a language older than the Roman Empire, a sanctum carved by forgotten hands beneath the sands of Ostia, and a letter never meant to be read, whispering that the empire never fell, it merely vanished. Each one a thread. Together they weave something far more haunting than legend, a suggestion that the Rome we know is just the surface, that beneath marble and myth, something breathes. Not every secret of the Roman Empire was lost to fire, sword, or time. Some were buried with purpose, some were buried with warning. And if these 3 truths, hidden, fragmented, nearly erased, survived 2,000 years, then how many more lie waiting in forgotten catacombs, unread parchments, or beneath the very stones we walk? What if the real story of Rome hasn't been told yet? What if this was only the beginning? If you felt the pull of something ancient tonight, you're not alone. Subscribe now. Join me on the next expedition, because every time the bell rings, we might just be brushing the dust off another forgotten secret of the greatest empire the world has ever known. The ruins are speaking. Let's listen together. You think you know Roman history. These 3 secrets will rewrite everything. What if I told you that beneath the ruins of Rome, hidden from the eyes of history, lie secrets that could shatter everything you thought you knew about the empire? Imagine walking the same streets where emperors ruled, senators conspired, and shadows whispered untold tales. Tales so dark and powerful, they were buried deliberately for 2,000 years. Tonight, we dive deeper into the mysteries of an empire built on blood, betrayal, and secrets so profound they threatened the very foundation of Rome itself. From the fears that came in the moonlit rooms, to fires that may have been no accident, and spies lurking within the marble halls of power. These are not stories from myth, but echoes of a past long concealed. Are you ready to uncover the shadows that history tried to erase? Because the truth waits, buried, but not forgotten. Beneath the ancient stones of Rome, where shadows whisper and history holds its breath, 3 secrets lie buried, each potent enough to unravel the myth of the eternal city. The night of the murdered senators. A conspiracy cloaked in the velvet dark of Rome's gilded halls. In a single, blood-soaked night, loyalty turned to treachery, and the Republic's heart was pierced by betrayal. What sinister pact was sealed in those marble corridors? And what restless curse still haunts the stones where senators fell? The Great Fire of 64 A.D., an inferno that devoured Rome and birthed legends of Nero's madness. Yet beneath the charred ruins, a hidden city stirs, a labyrinth of secret chambers and forbidden Mithraic rites, pulsing with arcane power. Was this blaze mere chance, or a deliberate veil drawn over truths too dangerous to see? The secret agents of the Palace Unseen, hands within the imperial palace, spies and whisperers whose coded missives and silent machinations wove the threads of Rome's final days. Their secrets, so shattering, could rewrite the fall of an empire, exposing a truth long guarded by time's unyielding grip. Each mystery burns with its own dark allure. Together they conjure a Rome unseen, a city of shadows and lies, waiting for the bold to unearth its buried truths. Together with echoes of the past, the first curtain of truth is lifted. Secret 1. Murder Night. They called him Little Boots when he was a child, a charming mascot marching beside the legions. But when Gaius Caligula became emperor, Rome would learn the terrible cost of giving absolute power to a broken mind. In the early months of his reign, the Senate rejoiced. Caligula was young, eloquent, generous. He freed prisoners, ended treason trials, and showered Rome with games and gifts. But something changed. A fever, they say, or perhaps it was always there, waiting. Then came the fear. Whispers of betrayal. A senator seen leaving the palace too late at night. A patrician who hesitated before applauding the emperor's speech. Paranoia became policy. Caligula's gaze, once boyish, turned cold, calculating. And one night, Rome would descend into terror. They came with torches, armed guards in the emperor's purple, moving like shadows through the sleeping city. Their orders were clear. Find the dissenters. Find those who spoke ill. Find those who hesitated. What followed was a massacre behind closed doors, known only through fragments, rumors, and the horror etched into the Senate's silence. According to some chroniclers, Caligula personally marked the names. A blacklist. Senators who had dared to speak against him, or simply failed to flatter him. House after house was entered by force. Men were dragged from their beds, still in their night robes, some begging, others cursing. Some were executed on the spot. Others were brought to the Palatine, where the emperor allegedly watched, smiling, as they were beaten, stabbed, and humiliated before death. One senator, Gnaeus Lentulus, had once toasted Caligula's name in the Forum. That night, he was reportedly found with his throat slit, the word traitor carved crudely into the door behind him. What made this night so terrifying wasn't the number of dead, but its message. Caligula wasn't just punishing enemies, he was warning everyone. There would be no opposition, no dissent. The Senate was no longer a chamber of power, but an audience in a theater of fear. The next morning, the Forum was silent. Those who survived attended the Senate wrapped in white, a symbol of mourning, submission, and surrender. Official records of the killings were likely destroyed. Even ancient historians like Suetonius and Dio Cassius tread carefully, using words like